thoughts. Does it make sense?
Okay, I had to make this video. I'm watching Seventh Hanuman, and my brain is starting to hurt here. I've been messaging him for quite a while. I jumped in his live because I seen Angels in here, and I wanted to ask Angels because he's calling me a perp now. For some reason, Angels is calling me a perp, and I wanted to know why. So I jumped in here and I asked him, and of course, then he says nothing. But it goes on here, and Seventh Hanuman is going on and on about these lighting effects, okay? And I'm just asking him these questions. But here, I'll let you watch it here, and then I'll show you. Then I'll show you what I was asking him. Okay.
That's why majority of TIs are paranoid because it's a form of fear. You're living in fear when nothing is happening. It's only a paranoia thought that you received and you keep thinking into it to a point where you actually believe it's happening or believe it's a reality. For example, sitting in your car, you see someone walk by, they didn't even look at you, but somehow you receive a thought about gang stalking, and that person just so happened to walk by, they didn't even look at you, and your next thought is start labeling that person as a gang stalker. And if you buy into those thoughts, you're being manipulated to keep thinking that way. And when it comes down to it, how has that thought helped you in life? It doesn't. Because that person just walked by you, didn't even look at you. And if you want to spend your energy feeling negative, feeling a good feeling, 4 months, how there's a photo of Carl losing control, getting psychiatric help, getting labeled as a schizo, taking get prescribed with medication or some type. Medication will help for a while, but the entity is still there regardless if the TI is taking medication or not. So the TI is taking medication, it still does not mean these things right here in the photo are gone. These things in the photo are still there regardless if the TI takes medication. If the TI still can't handle it, all it takes is one bad breakout for the TI to get put into a jacket or get checked into some type of mental institute. Well, just getting the medication alone is already labeled as a schizo in the medical. Better situation. Thoughts. It's thoughts or thoughts are being attacked. All it is. With us, with you and I. So they can affect you in your physical body. But their major form of manipulating a person is by using thoughts. All TIs can advance to recognition of understanding, oh, voice to skull and lower voice to skull are happening. And that's because that TI might not be fortunate enough due to his or her environment. TIs that live in an apartment complex, based on my experience of researching, are very unlikely to come out of this gang stalking understanding what's going on. That's because those
See, this is where he talks about how they they don't get him. His neighbors don't leave and come back whenever he leaves because he's not affected by it. Well, he doesn't have any neighbors. I mean, if you don't have any neighbors, your neighbors can't very well gang stalk you, can they? but but I'm telling you, like they leave and come back every single time I leave my house. I've caught my brother sitting outside my house, waiting for me to leave. Okay, the gang stalking is real. These people are doing it with the power of choice. Don't sit here and try to say it's entities making them do it. Okay, whether it is or not, they still have the power of choice.
You guys got too many neighbors, and these entities can use the neighbors as a scapegoat for tricking the TI to believe they're the gang stalkers. But for me, my neighbors are nowhere close to me. I can come outside and I don't see no neighbors. So if I don't see no neighbors, then what is happening? You see how my mind can actually eliminate one step of the process?
Okay, seventh, your mind isn't eliminating the process. The fact that you don't have any neighbors eliminates that tactic, plain and simple.
I come outside, there's no neighbors, so it can't be neighbors. I set up cameras, I don't see anyone, so it can't be neighbors.
Can't be neighbors.
But for a TI living in an apartment complex, they opened the door, they could see a neighbor walking by, and now they're gonna think it's gang stalkers. So they're trapped in that stage because there's too many people around. So the TI living in an apartment complex set up cameras. Well, of course, those cameras gonna pick up people because a lot of people live in an apartment complex. So each time the TI look at the footage and see a person walk by, these entities gonna tell the TI that's a gang stalker, and that TI not realizing he or she just received negative thoughts, and it's not his or her own thoughts, but
Bullshit.
bought into it, and now that TI is gonna start thinking, "Oh, that neighbor is a gang stalker."
Bullshit.
And
Seventh,
from that moment forward,
either they have you completely mind fucking warped, or else you're an agent working for them. I mean, it's real simple.
whenever that TI sees that person again, that TI's instantly is gonna believe it's a gang stalker. Those are all problems and paranoias and fear that TI have to live with because that TI is living in a very populated area. See, those things I just mentioned do not apply to me because I live on a farm. I have no neighbors nearby.
Right.
So I don't go through those things. Notice the different path that we have. A TI who's living in those situations have that one specific path and barrier being set up to prevent that TI from breaking out of it. And for me, living on a farm, I have my own path, which it doesn't come with that barrier because I have no neighbors, so I can eliminate the paranoia thought that it's my neighbors. Does that make sense?
Right. Seventh. So your paranoia is that it's all spirits gang stalking you. It's just spirits gang stalking you. It's not neighbors because you live on a farm. They can't get people to gang stalk you. Right? So they'll make you think that it's spirits gang stalking you. This is technology. Seventh on the month. This is technology they're using against you. These are people making conscious decisions, knowingly fucking with you.
Sense. So by chance, based on my living situation, my environment, I'm fortunate enough to stumble upon this. And that's why now I'm sharing with you guys. But you guys might not want to accept the information I'm sharing with you because you have never experienced my path. You see, I'm a TI on my own unique path. I may mention that we all have our own journey, and this is my journey. And I'm trying to show you guys.
Okay, now he's going to start talking about the orbs and the stuff in the pictures that he sees. Okay, watch.
What I learned based on my journey. And if this makes sense to you, then I hope this information will help you move forward. And if you don't want to get on this path, then you're just going to be stuck on believing what you believed before. Because I'm showing you something that no other TIs have ever brought up. What are you looking at right now? What are you seeing? Just look at this image. What are you seeing? It's not just a bunch of pretty lights. Something, it's there in the environment, and the camera's picking it up.
So
Now look at this photo. What is this?
I tell him what it is. I said, that's exactly what it looks like. It's a glare off the lens.
What do you call this? Is this still a light flare? Before I realized these things, I had no idea they were actually in Hollywood for a long time. From now on, when you watch a movie, you will focus on them when you see them, because that's how it works for me. And I'm sure it's going to work for you, because now I brought light into this topic. I planted the seed in your head. So the next time you watch TV and movie, you're going to realize, wow, these things are actually being shown more often than you realize. But before this, if you don't know about them, you've seen it many times. Go.
Okay, so I go on. I'm talking to him in the chat, and he does respond back. But I told him, I said, talk to someone who's an expert in cameras and lighting. And I told him, I was like, they really got you. Have you talked to any experts in cameras or lighting? And he's like, look, you watch all movies and you'll see this. I said, yeah, movies are recorded with cameras. Cameras have lenses. And I said, have you asked a camera expert about this yet? He keeps avoiding it. He keeps avoiding that. I said, they can explain what you're seeing. I think they put this idea in your head, because he talks about them putting ideas in your head. I said, you ever think of that? And he's like, if you don't believe in this stuff, you don't believe that there's energies and there's powers that influence people to do things. I said, I do, but they're making you look pretty stupid. I said, have you ever, and he talks about, oh, nobody, you don't want to do the work. You don't want to do the work. I said, have you done the work of asking a camera or lighting expert about these things? I'm not trying to be offensive or anything. I'm trying to help you. He goes on and on and on here.
Watch it. Any one of the movies you've seen in the past, one of your favorite movies, is probably in it. I watch old previous movies that I watched as a kid, and they were in those movies. But I had no idea at the time. Look at this photo. What is this? Look at this one. Like, when you see a photo like this, what is this? It looks like a gang to me. Right? Or this one.
I mean, he goes on and on.
See, this is a poker match on TV. And as this person walked towards the camera, look, you see this. What is this? Does this look like a light flare to you?
It's hitting the lens, yes.
I mean, they're just everywhere. Look at this down here. Like, what is this?
Exactly what it looks like.
Look at these 3 dots. It might be hard for you to understand or try to believe that there's intelligence in this.
It is funny.
Right? When you look at this, it's hard for you to believe in that. I mean, how can you look at these dots and think there's intelligence in these things? Like, what? They're just light. And Nikola Tesla, he found out there's energy everywhere.
Boom.
Right? There's free energy
Lighting
everywhere.
effect.
Their little ball into place and be like, are there any ghosts here? There's ghosts everywhere you go. EMF detectors. Put the detector, and now the detector just and all you gotta do is just put the detector near one of these things. They're everywhere. 2000 maybe, or late 90s on MTV or something back in the days. Single thought in my mind. But now, knowing what I know, when I see, and you'll be surprised on a daily basis how many people watching TV out there, and when they see something like this in movies, it does nothing to them. It triggers zero curiosity. It just nothing.
So that's where I started talking about
Like this
this.
is actually in a movie. What are all these red dots? And what are all these other dots?
This is where I said, yeah, movies are recorded with cameras. Cameras have lenses. Have you ever asked a camera expert about this yet?
Things I'm telling you further into it. Different from yours, then that's and a lot of doing stupidest things. Well, those stupidest things, the ideas came from somewhere. And those ideas, well, all these years of what I
So long story
understand
short,
what's going on.
I keep telling him, look it up, okay? I said, I'm not trying to be offensive. I hope you talk to an expert in camera imagery and lighting effects. And then he's like, eventually he gets to this one. Hold on.
Most evil.
Boy, he goes on for a
Can you
while
explain scientific? This is not or
about.
seeing you guys this, and I support.
He goes, okay.
And I hope
Here, this
you
one.
will start maybe taking photos of your surrounding more often. And I hope you will start a show. And these ladies are out try to conjure spirits or communicate with spirits. Now, this is just there's spirits all over them, so there's really no need to conjure anything. Like I was saying earlier about how some paranormal investigators would go into a building and be like, "Are there any ghosts here? How did you die? What is your name? What happened to you?" Like all those questions, I believe the spirit they all laugh at those type of questions because look at this photo. There are spirits all over them. There's no need to investigate.
No, okay. Right there. No need to investigate this. No need to ask a camera expert or someone who knows about imagery and digital imagery and lighting effects with a camera. No need to investigate. That's what I said. No need to investigate. No need to ask an expert in imagery about this, right? I said, look into it right now. Look it up online. Sure there is. I said, type this into your browser right now. Lighting anomalies with lighting and imagery. Try that for a start. Eventually, I did get frustrated with him because he still, it keeps going on and on about it's entities and everything, and he won't look into it, right?
Everywhere spirits inside things then living that pass
And
on.
I had to say it.
Then if you think about it, throughout time, how many people actually died on this planet? We have no idea. But we can say that
Eventually, I had to say, Nerve is right. You don't want to find the real answer, do you? And that's my point. I had to put this out there. Sorry, Seventh. I mean, no offense to you, but they got you good, man. They got you real good. If you really think that, until you look it up, the lighting effects that can happen with camera, digital imagery, and the lighting effects that can happen, because there's lenses in your camera, okay, and then you have, I'm not sure what it's called, but you have on your camera module, you have that piece that with all the little pixels in it that absorbs the lighting coming in, and then the processor has to turn that into an image, okay? And it creates these anomalies in your image. Okay, that's why we can't see them with our naked eyes, because they're not there. They're created through the creation of the image from the from the computing, the digital imagery. Okay, look into it. Just look into it. Just do the work and look into it, Seventh. Okay, before you look any dumber. And I hate to say that. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm starting to sound like Nerve Gorilla here. But I said Nerve is right. You don't want to find out the real answer, do you? He is right about a lot of stuff. And these TIs like this are making us look real fucking stupid. Because that's why I have to question his motives. Seventh, what are you trying to do here? Because I've asked him this before. Okay, say you're right. And it's all entities. Well, then what? Then there's nothing we can do, right? Nothing we can do about it. Just have to give in. Isn't that funny? So those of you who know that there's people who are doing this sick shit, the gang stalking and everything, if you get if you start to go down this rabbit hole and think that it's all entities doing it, then there's nothing we can do. Nothing. Okay, and they get away with it. So don't fall down that rabbit hole. Ask the right questions. And I'm asking that question right now. Seventh, what the hell are you trying to do, dude? Seriously. If you're going to try to influence other targeted individuals, dude, go out and do the research first. Go out and look into this before you try to tell people this is entities, okay? Be good or be good at it. Peace.